What if, just play along, what if all these protests that the news kept on showing us all weekend long, actually all week long, we're like 10 days into these things, the Tesla takedown protests, what if they turned out to be not organic at all? I'd go so far as to say, what if they were all fake? Give you some reasons why that actually may be the case. And what if the reason why so many people on the left are upset about Elon taking your Social Security number is because they were trying to upend the country through Social Security. This was something we learned last night as Elon spoke in Wisconsin. That's the hardcore news stuff. A little bit lighter news, but no less important. What if Hooters didn't have any Hooters? And what if the state of Idaho tried to take truck nuts away from the road? I know, it seems like none of this makes sense. Let me explain. I hope you had a great weekend. I really do. Thanks for finding me at Wicked Radio and the audio podcast, too. Numbers going up. Appreciate you. Glad you enjoy the audio. Wherever you like to find your podcast and the replay on here on X, make sure you put on notifications and follow and like and all that good stuff. And on YouTube and on Facebook as well. I hope you had a beautiful, safe weekend. Unfortunately, a lot of people decided to spend their weekend with some beautiful spring-like weather throughout the country protesting Tesla, the Tesla takedown. I got some questions about this, though, and it all kind of ties in, and we learned a lot about this last night as Elon became a cheesehead in Wisconsin. So he was in Wisconsin speaking ahead of a special election they have there coming up tomorrow for their Supreme Court race. This is why he was there, because I guess the opponent of this Brad Schimmel guy, she wants to redistrict the state of Wisconsin, and that would change their congressional representatives, which would upend the House of Representatives, which would upend the country, which would upend the world. So it's an important thing. And they're also voting on the line here for voter ID in the state of Wisconsin. So it's all very important. But we all ask the question. You can't escape because the news has been all over it, all over your social media too, all of the video of these. And they looked massive. They really did. They concerned me at first. I'm like, wow, okay, well, it does seem pretty organized. All these people coming out of their weekend to protest Tesla in big cities and small cities throughout the country. That must be a big deal, right? Maybe not so much. Here's from last night in Wisconsin.
I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George from me.
All right, that answers a lot of questions because we all asked it. Who's funding this stuff? Who's funding and revving up the lunatics who are not only damaging Teslas on the road and in parking lots, but these so-called organized protests that you see all over the place, right, especially this weekend? Who's behind it? Okay, there's my answer. If Elon is saying George Soros on stage in Wisconsin, I think we know. And that was in response to a guy that was heckling him, I guess, or something like that. Now, I'll get back to Wisconsin here in a second, but let's talk about these protests. So here's what I started to look at. Let's rate the level of organic authenticity with these, right? With all the things that we've seen. And you can't escape them. Unless you were in a coma this weekend, you see something about these protests against Tesla, right? New York, Chicago, L.A., smaller cities, Grand Rapids, it's everywhere, every state. Do you see how many buses there were? Buses for a so-called organic protest, busing people in. All right, not the most inorganic thing, but still, a little bit suspicious. How about this one? Did you see the pictures that people were posting of the chant sheets? Bill, what's a chant sheet? Printed out sheets of things to chant. Hey, hey, Tesla's got to go, whatever they chant, right? Oh, that's very suspicious to me. That's organized. That's like talking points there, right? Was a video, did you see this one? Two of them I saw. These were from the Midwest. One of them was at some smaller city in Michigan where someone was, a counter-protester was on the other side of the street and caught them all leaving at the same time. like you were a union shift worker. Like the bell went off and 2:00, gotta go. And they all left. That's 10 out of 10 on the suspicious level, as if they were all paid. Because you don't care about a cause. If you all look at each other when your alarm goes off at a certain time, 12, noon, 2, 5, whatever it is, and go, well, time to go, protest's over, they're not paying me overtime, that's the most suspicious thing I've seen. But here's the worst one of all. They've done it again. Do you remember a couple of weeks, it might have been a week and a half ago, at the Bernie Sanders AOC rally, where it looked like it was a massive number of people, right? Buses again outside. the geniuses who track this kind of stuff looked at all of the cell phone data, and they found out that there were many people at the same rallies in different cities. Same people? Same rally? Well, lo and behold, look what they found about these Tesla protests. In different states, some of the same cell phone data, some of the same GPS data showing up. I'm not buying this at all. I'm sure there were people that showed up that are so twisted and they hate Doge, they hate Elon, they hate the country that much that they actually did this. This thing, these protests might be the most inorganic I've ever seen. And now that he said that on stage last night in Wisconsin, when we pointed out directly, it's like the boogeyman, the George Soros family, the communists funding all of the things designed to tear the country apart. If he said it on stage directly and said, say hi to George for me, yeah, I'm thinking that I'm thinking these aren't too organic at all. But anyway, you can think what you want, I guess, but these seem to be pretty damn phony, despite what they're trying to make us believe. In the meantime, let's go back to Wisconsin for a quick second. This was wild. This was a wild, wild thing. Well, first of all, he was talking about, Doge itself and how they're, the main sticking point here seems to be, keep Doge off my grandma's Social Security. Once again, and it's ridiculous he even had to do this, had to reassure people that nobody is taking the money away. In fact, the whole goal and what they're doing here at great personal risk is try to protect it for everyone.
So I can just state it as crisply and clearly as possible, that Doge will absolutely ensure that people get their Social Security, make sure they get their Social Security, make sure they get their Medicaid, and will not be cutting any legitimate payments whatsoever.
I did notice that. Why is Tubby Tim Walz going off on these tangents on X, and he's speaking on stage, and it's like, keeps on mentioning the Social Security part of it. Why is that? Like, why are they doing that? Why are they keying in, of all the stuff that Doge is working on, why are the Democrats so upset about that part of it? Well, once again, we got our answer last night, and we'll lighten this up in a second, but this is probably the most impactful, scariest thing I've seen of the last 4 years that we weren't even aware of and wouldn't have been aware of until they started looking into it. It was all through Social Security, where they were trying to upend the country. We all know what happened at the border. Everybody gets that, right? Everybody understands that. Well, they want to create instant Democrats. Well, nobody ever really asked, well, how would they do that? Like, how would you create a one-party state? Turns out it was through Social Security. A member of the Doge team got up there, too. This guy's name is Antonio Gracias. Last name is Thank You? That's pretty cool. We should thank him. And he started talking about he's a Doge member that's looking into the Social Security part of it, and they couldn't believe what they found. As of 2024 last year, there were 2.1 million Social Security numbers that were handed out to people who came to this country illegally through the border. That's 2.1 million. What didn't they find? But what's the reason for that? Why? Why would they be doing this? Well, we learned it all last night. Here's the point.
The Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth, just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep. They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Ah, okay. I get it now. Now I understand. This is why Tubby Tim Walz is on there all the time. Tell Elon to keep your hands on Social Security. You know why? It's not because of grandma. They don't care about grandma. They also don't care about the illegals that came through the country. It's because this is how they were getting them legal and letting them vote. And this Antonio Gracias guy last night also said, we found vote. A lot of them did vote. We don't know where, but they did. And there's your answer. A lot revealed last night. It wasn't just Elon with a Cheesehead on. A lot was revealed. All right, let's go to some business news real quick. We all know that a lot of traditional restaurants, brick and mortar stores, traditional brand names that we're all familiar with are struggling these days because, well, the times are changing. The economy's changing, right? Including Hooters. That's right, Hooters, the family-friendly restaurant. Well, maybe not, but they're trying to become family-friendly. I didn't know it was this bad for them. I haven't been into a Hooters in probably 12 years, 15 years. The ones I went to in college were amazing. I went to college in Tampa, which is where some of the originals were. That was incredible. Getting choked up about it right now. As it turns out, I'm not alone. A lot of people haven't gone to Hooters in a long time. They're $300 million in debt. It closed about 40 locations in the U.S., but they're hanging in there. So what do they want to do? They want to make Hooters family friendly. Okay. The de-Hooterization process has begun. This is from them, not me. This is from Hooters Corporate, where they want to make it appealing to the entire family. I'm sure families have gone before, but not just a bunch of husbands and dads after the golf game getting all lubed up on the 19th hole. No. They want wives going there. They want moms going there, grandmas going there, kids going there. This means only one thing. Pretty soon, if this takes place, you're not going to have any Hooters at Hooters. Here's the thing they don't understand. I would hope in this whole process they change the menu around. Because what maybe they don't realize is nobody goes to Hooters for the wings. You know what I'm saying? Not the best wings in the world. Unless they've changed over the past decade. I don't know. I haven't been, so I can't attest to that. But they're going to need a lot more than just the de-Hooterization process to save that franchise. But it's a business. It's an American business. I hope they do well. I'm rooting for them. I hope so anyway. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to close any more locations. They're also not saying when this is actually going to happen. They're just saying it's going to happen over time. So I don't know. We used to be a proper country. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's go to this one too. Let's go to this fine, fine state of Idaho. I've never been to Idaho. But apparently they got some wacky congressional leaders there. And they have some, I mean the state legislature. Because this is, I would imagine, without having ever been to Idaho, they must have bigger problems than this. But it's become a massive, massive deal in their state. They want to ban, are you ready? Truck nuts. That's right. There's a massive movement underway to ban truck nuts. I know you all know what I'm talking about. We're all adults here. You know, hanging to the back. Well, I don't need to describe them. In fact, the governor of the state of Ohio went as far, did a speech dedicated to just this legislation to ban truck nuts. And now you hear at the end the actual debate in the state legislature. Let me just go to it.
There's certain things people put on their trucks that look like part of a male anatomy.
What are they?
They call them truck nuts. They're gross, they're offensive, and kids on the road see them. So why wouldn't the police get a call and say, that offends me, pull it off the truck? Because now this bill will allow it.
Yeah, here's what the bill would do. And it's got a lot of support, apparently. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Idaho politics or how things work out there, but it's a pretty rustic state, a lot of it, outside of the main cities, right? Outside of Boise or Coeur d'Alene, I guess. They want to make it so that police agencies, state troopers, I'm sure, anybody really, they see truck nuts in the back of a car or truck, obviously, and they could pull you over and insist that you take them off right there, or it's a citation or a fine or a... Again, there's got to be more going on in Ohio, more problems than to focus this much attention on this, right? I would imagine, like any state in this economy, must be going through some tough times. And there's also this, like, how does this have so much support? Like, if you're that offended by that on the road, if you're worried about the children seeing offensive things that they actually shouldn't, you got some bigger problems. They're going to see a lot worse things on the road. Trust me on this. But apparently that's a big deal. So we're soon, you know where we are. Soon we're going to have a country where there's no Hooters at Hooters and you can't see truck nuts on the road. Okay, this is where we're going. Don't let me stop you. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave you with that because I'm out of material, number one. And number two, I have something very important I need to get to here pretty quickly in an appointment. But watch out for this and look into that if you haven't. It's kind of long, so maybe you don't want to watch the entire Elon speech in Wisconsin yesterday. But look at the part where he's got that Antonio Gracias guy talking about Social Security and how they were actually able to manipulate that, because now you understand why there's so much backlash against cleaning up Social Security, because that's how they were getting most of the dirty work done. It's kind of scary, but it's important for you to know, and it's very, very revealing. I'm glad Elon went to Wisconsin yesterday because there was a lot that got revealed. All right. With all that said, thanks for finding the audio version of the podcast, wherever you like to get your podcast, whatever platform, and follow on here and like and share and all that good stuff on X and on YouTube and on Facebook. With all that said, the main takeaway is Man, if you don't like something, don't ban it. Just fix it. You hearing me, Hooters? And you're going to have to change your wings if you want to de-Hooterize Hooters. Just saying. And don't take any crap from anybody. It's only Monday, but have a wicked awesome Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.